Well, you talked about some of the youth of this squad. Let's start along the back line, and you lose a player like Leanne Trudell, who has really been the heart and soul of that defense in terms of the goalkeeper for you. Now you've got three people vying for that position. I don't think between them, I'm not sure they had played a college match coming in to the exhibition, or very limited, if that. So you got three youngsters back there. Let's start with the youth of your team, and it starts between the posts.
Yeah, I mean, the goalkeeping, it's such an important position. There's so much pressure on them. It's really difficult to throw a freshman in there, but that's what's happening this year. I mean, Amara was here last year but didn't play, so she basically medically or just redshirted. She didn't play in the game. She has the experience and knowledge of being through a season and kind of seeing what everything's about in the competition, but she's never been in a game scenario. And then we have two true freshmen that came in, and it's a competition for sure between the three of them. I've seen a lot of growth in them over the past 2.5 weeks, to be honest.
Yeah.
And so we're just right now trying to figure it out. They're going to get time, all of them, and get opportunities and see what happens. Leanne's freshman year, I don't know if you remember, Hook, but we had another goalkeeper, Eden, that was a goalkeeper as well, and Leanne struggled her freshman year. Like, we split time the whole entire season. Like, I don't know if it was halves or games, but we split with them the whole entire season. So it's a position that takes some time to learn, and you have to do it by fire. You got to get in there and learn and make the mistakes and grow. But I've been pleased with them. Number one, I think they all get along really well and support one another, which is massive. And then number three, I think they're all three capable. I think they're all three really good athletes that have the potential to grow and be really strong goalkeepers. But here in the short term, we're gonna throw them in the fire and see what happens.
And I think you noticed, and I really thought that, Amara did some really good things. I love her aggressive nature, helping out the backline defense early on, where she was not just sitting back and playing on the goal line, was able to come out and make plays to kind of keep things going in the right direction. Well, you talked about your tough schedule. You mentioned, again, you played Georgia State out of the Sun Belt. You got Appalachian State coming up out of the Sun Belt Conference. Georgia State, of course, in exhibition play. You had Winthrop here. You got Appalachian State. You got at Tennessee. Then you got East Carolina and NC State coming to town. You got a really tough schedule there. But what are you looking forward to this next week with, again, App and Tennessee, and then looking to have big home crowds against both ECU and, of course, NC State, who's going to probably be looking for a little bit of revenge since we knocked them off at their place last year.
Yeah, no question. That stretch of games is gonna test us for sure. I mean, Thursday is our first road test, so that's always, having that many young players and that many new people in our group. It's like, how do we respond to being on the road and playing in a different environment? App plays on turf, which we don't normally play on. So, and you've been here, Hook. App's not my favorite place,
right.
And I totally want to go there and get the job done. So for me, it's a little extra. But no, looking forward to the competition against App. They're a good team. They've done well, and then from there it just continues to kind of raise the bar for us. And we want to play the toughest competition we can, because I feel like that's when we find the most out about ourselves. If we just manage it the right way and continue to get better and better every week, I think we're going to be where we want to be by the time SoCon play starts.
Talking about SoCon, right now you look at it, Sanford had an outstanding early season draw against a team that was ranked in the top 10. They're at Notre Dame. Right now, you kind of look at the poll and you think, well, maybe it's Sanford than everybody else. What are you thinking? It seems like this league this year, probably more so than other years, it might be just wide open for the taking.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good league for mid-major college soccer. Sanford's a front runner. I mean, I think you have to say that when they win the regular season and in the tournament last year, and they didn't graduate a lot. And then to go on the road and do what they did at number 2, Notre Dame, was highly impressive. And so, yeah, they're the bar in our conference that everybody's kind of trying to get to. But I mean, Tennessee Tech's kind of an unknown. We played them maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Tough place to play. We play them at home this year. So, but I would expect. I mean, they've won their conference the last 2 or 3 years. So, yeah. I mean, regardless of where they're at, they're a winning mentality program. And then, I think Furman, ETSU are all going to be very good. I think Chattanooga's going to be right there. I think we're going to be there. I think Mercer, UNCG. I mean, it's. I think the top 8. I think anybody can get anybody on any given day.
Yeah, and I think even at the bottom of the league, you got to be prepared to play because of the style some of those teams will throw at you. Might be a little different wrinkle than what you see on a normal basis, and it just makes this league top to bottom very tough. Talked with Spencer Smith, head coach from Winthrop. We talked about how tough that this conference was coming in. He talked about how impressed he was with the way the SoCon played. As you get a look at the preseason poll, again, really jumbled. You talk about there, really top half of the league, but that's just the way that everything kind of shook out. And, again, you look at the ETSU being up there. Furman, you mentioned a team that's usually a perennial power here in the Southern Conference, but each and every match is very, very important as we head down the line. So, again, special thanks to Chad Miller stopping by here to talk Catamount soccer to kind of kick off our Catamount Coaches Show, our 2026 Fall Sports Preview, presented by Stanberry Insurance, live on location here at Catamount Jaxe. When we come back, we'll continue. We'll go from football to football. We'll talk with the old ball coach. Kerwin Bell joins us 1 week away from the return of Catamount Football Weekly right here every Monday night at Catamount Jaxe. Don't go anywhere. We'll continue with our Fall Sports Preview presented by Stanberry Insurance right after this.
Boys, the first ever drone show at Catamount Football is coming up August 29th, and it's all up to us.
Let's do this.
I'll just come back later.
You saw nothing. Catamount Nation, are you ready? Fly, my pretty little things, fly!
Back live at Catamount Jaxe, just across from the Western Carolina campus here on a Monday night. It's our Catamount Coaches Show and our 2026 Fall Sports Preview presented by Stanberry Insurance. Anything you need to get covered with insurance, let Stanberry Insurance give you a quote. Visit them online, stanberry-ins.com. 5 locations across Western North Carolina. They serve the region across the southeast. 5 local locations. Again, they've got Western North Carolina covered. Silva, Waynesville, Highlands, Clyde, and Whittier. Make sure you give them a chance to give you a quote. Tell them you heard it right here on the Catamount Coaches Show. Again, they've been back in the Catamounts for over 45 years. Stanberry-ins.com. We're going to be sitting in the same location, probably in the same 2 chairs, 1 week from tonight, around this same time, as we bring back Catamount Football Weekly each and every Monday night right here at Catamount Jaxe. Would love to see you out here. Want to give a shout also to Soli Flavor outside tonight, one of the food trucks here on hand. And make sure you stop by here at Catamount Jaxe next time you come to see the Catamounts play. Love to have it here. They got alcohol and then the social house here in the front. They got axe throwing in the back. Coach is always, I'm trying to get him back there to throw the axes. If he could throw the pigskin like he can, I'm sure he could really throw those axes back there. Coach has already got the black shirt on. He's ready to go for the blackout, our first game under the lights. But, Coach, before we get to that, let's talk about camp. And you guys have wrapped up your camp, 14 practices in, not to mention 2 scrimmages thrown in there as well. What did you see out of your squad? I know you talked about the improvement that you saw that you were looking for. How do you feel sitting here on one of the very few off days you've had here since the start of camp?
Yeah, I've had a good one so far. Got some guys banged up. We got to get back healthy this week. That'll be our priority. And going to go ahead and get a jump start, on Eastern Kentucky this week with our game plan. But I also try to nurse these guys back and get them in the training rooms and make sure they get back healthy here by the end of this week, so we have a whole full week next week, game week, to go back over our game plan and get it ready. But the camp's been good. It's probably been one of the most contested camps as far as both sides being very competitive, offensively, defensively. Our special teams, watching them perform. We've got a lot of quality players that can go down and make an impact on all three of those phases. So I'm excited about our depth. Now we got a lot of inexperience. That's the one thing that we got to figure out, early, is we got to get these guys in the game, see who can actually play under the lights, in a big time game. So that's going to be a big challenge for us, is to find those guys who are game day stars, right? Who can come to the forefront. And so, but we got a lot to pick from. I tell you, at every position, I think we got 2 or 3 guys that can go perform for us. But it's still be a big challenge for us to just continue to build as we go through the season and become a better football team as we grow.
I think that's been one of my lines when everybody asks me when they see me out on the streets, how's football looking? What have you got? And I said, you know what? I think we've got a lot more talent. We're deeper. We've got more depth in talent. We just have a lot of names maybe people may not be familiar with yet. I think that's the case right now, because you don't have a whole lot of returners in terms of guys that were at the top of the list, because those guys, in the day and age of the transfer portal, they're playing somewhere else right now. But you got guys that have made the commitment to come back, which I think is huge. You got a guy like Isaac Lee competing with Lex Thomas there at quarterback. I think Patrick Harding, the freshman's been really impressive. Really, that entire quarterback room has done some good things. You got guys like Michael Rawson coming back at wide receiver, and everybody knows, everybody sees Zero, he's always open. It's kind of like 7-Eleven. He's always open out there.
Yeah.
But, again, a lot of depth. Maybe not some names people recognize, and I think that really showed when you started talking about looking at the preseason all-conference teams. I don't think we saw as many as we've seen in the past. Of course, you added one more team to choose from in Tennessee Tech. But, again, I think there was some unfamiliarity perhaps in name recognition that might have skewed that a little bit.
Yeah, last year, 2 years ago, we had a lot of guys come back from that first class we recruited, and they probably didn't quite perform at the level they could have to get a big money day, so they stayed here, and a lot of them wanted to finish what they'd sort of started here, and try to win that championship. Colombo's coming back. He was injured, so he's coming back now for his big year. Ja Boyd is another guy who probably could have went and got money, but he got hurt missed all last year, so we got him back. MJ's a freshman who played unbelievable last year, is going into his sophomore year. I mean, all three of them can flat out play at receiver. So, there's a lot of areas where we got some guys who've got some experience, but then there's a lot of areas where we trying to find that guy who can step up and do it for the first time. But I love it. The AJ Colombos, the Ken Moores, the Blues, Monroe. All those guys have come back, and they all to a man tell us. I know they tell me every time I talk, they want to finish this thing.
Yeah. And
they've been here. We've been able to grow, and we've been able to have 4 straight winning seasons, 3 7-win seasons. But that ain't enough. It ain't enough for us. That ain't enough for me or our players. And I know it ain't enough for our fans. We need to go take that next step, and I think we've got an opportunity to do that with this football team.
Well, you talk about one of the questions, one of the things we've always got every time on the program with Catamount Football Weekly. We hear about it, how you're going to be on defense. We've seen the offense. That's been something we'll talk about more as we go forward, but what are you looking at defensively? Nick Revese coming in has brought a little bit different of an attitude, and we saw it kind of show up in the scrimmages so far, but what have you seen out of Coach Revese? What is he bringing to the table with him and some of the new coaches on defense?
Well, I think the number one thing is just the way he can communicate with players and develop the relationships he does, and the guys he's brought with him, the coaches, they are so good at getting players to buy into what they want to get done. And, it's all about him is be simplistic for his players so they can learn it and they don't have to think, they can go play, but also make it look very complex to the offense, and I think that's the one thing that he brings to the table is that, we're going to try to keep things in front of us and make sure we just are a good, sound football team that can show different things to an offense, but also play very sound in the back end. Don't give up a lot of big plays. Make the offense earn it. And he's big on that. He's big about us coming together and do it together. And that's what you have to have in the game of football, especially on the defensive side of the ball. You have to have all 11 guys running to the football and being aggressive and believing in each other. And he's really good at getting that point across.
Something's not fair, Coach. Somebody went and got some Soli flavor and brought it in here, and it's really starting to waft this way. That's not fair. We got to be over here talking, and they get to sit back there and enjoy Soli flavor and drinks here at Catamount Jaxe, again, home of Catamount Football Weekly. And, of course, tonight our 2026 Fall Sports Preview as we just, again, touch the surface on all 4 of our fall sports. Of course, not discrediting men's and women's golf will also be in competition. Baseball, softball, they've got their fall schedule as well. But the 4 big ones will have their championship seasons here in the fall, talking about those here. And we've talked about the defense, Coach. Now let's look at the offense. I mentioned to Chad Miller, sometimes it's kind of a product of your own success where now if you're not averaging 450 yards a game, you're not averaging 50 points a game, is it going to feel like a failure out there offensively? You've been so good offensively since you've been here. Kind of your bread and butter has been to play fast, score faster offense. What are you looking at of this group? Again, a lot of young guys. People may not know the names and the new numbers, but again, offensively, do you feel that pressure to keep on keeping on?
Well, yeah, we feel like we still got another crew that can do it, and how explosive can we be? And I don't know if we got, Tiger had probably one of the best years I've ever been around at any level, and but I think we depended on him a lot too because of that. I think we've got a lot more talent surrounding these guys. We can, I think, our ground game with our offensive line being, I think, more physical. We got to get them healthy. We got a few out right now, but get them guys back healthy. I think we're going to be able to dominate the line of scrimmage a little bit better. Our backs are bigger than they've ever been since we've been here. We've got Josh Perry's a 208, 210-pound back. Derek Davis right behind him's, 215. So we've never had backs like that. And so I think we're going to be a lot more balanced on offense. I don't know if we'll throw it all over the park like we have the last 2 years. But I think for us to win the big ones, we have to be more balanced. We got to find that run game. We got to have that power running game to go with that great passing game that we have. And when we do that, whenever I've done that in my career, we've won championships. And I feel like this team has that characteristics of a very whoever the quarterbacks they'll be up for Player of the Year. You can guarantee that. They both can flat out play, and they both fit this system perfectly the way they play the game. So that's going to be great, and then I think we'll have a lot more balance than we had in the last few years.
Since you've been doing this so long, you have the perfect segue as we talk about offense, and you finish up by talking about the QB room. And obviously that's one of the big questions everybody has. Well, have you named a starter? Pete Yannity, if you're watching, Pete's emailed me and texted me about 10 different times asking who's going to be the starter, and I said, the coach ain't going to tell me that until he has to. And it'll be whoever runs out there for the first snap. But I imagine we'll probably see a good bit of, as you're playing along, go with the guy with the hot hand, at least what we've seen in practice. You've rotated everybody. Just about all 6 quarterbacks have seen some time with the good on good. They're out there with the best guys at wide receiver, the best guys at the offensive line. You talk about Lex Thomas, the NC State transfer, Isaac Lee returning, Patrick Harding kind of come out of nowhere. We knew he was going to be a good quarterback, but he's really stepped up here. I think Jake Morrow's had some good reps, Caleb Tucker, Ian Grissom. All 6 of those guys have had really good reps here in the preseason.
Yeah, they are. But Caleb and Jake are true freshmen that got here in June. Patrick was able to graduate early. He was a walk-on, but came in from high school early in January, got the spring ball, really caught on their offense very quickly. He's one of the fastest guys I've ever seen learn our offense the way he did. And he's really pushed these other 2, but he's coming down probably to Lex and Isaac. And, to me, they're exactly the kind of quarterbacks I want, both of them. They're Hall of Fame point guards. They can distribute the ball at a very high efficiency. Both of them been over 70% completion hook all through camp. And so, and I think Isaac's like Isaac's up there big-time touchdown interception ratio, but Lex is like 24-3, 24 touchdowns, 3 interceptions throughout the whole fall. So both of them give you that great ability to go play at a high level and be very efficient. But the other thing is that they both can also give you a great they both will be one of the fastest guys on the field. And so they can create plays, they can extend plays, and so I'm very pleased with either one. And whoever we pick, we're gonna I think we're gonna do it because of who can sort of be the leader, who we think can be a little bit tougher in certain situations. But like I said, I think whoever we do is going to have a chance to win Player of the Year because they're going to be surrounded by some very talented players.
And I think you've said it plenty of times in your system. If you ain't got multiple quarterbacks, you ain't got one.
Yeah.
Because you do run the quarterback some. The guys have got to be able to distribute the football. Guys up front got to be able to protect them. You got a good group coming back. I think what I'm most excited about from the time that I've seen practice, we've yet to see a finished product on the field because of guys that have been held out. A guy like Jake Young who's returning. Haven't seen him a whole lot this preseason. A guy that knows what to do, knows where to be in a very deep tight end room right there. You know, want to make sure we talk special teams. Curry Webb would get all over me if we didn't talk special teams, right? But the competition, and you've talked about it at every other position, I think you got the same thing when you look at the competition out of that special teams room as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, at the field goal position, you know, we've had a big competition since day one of camp, and all through summer, really, we've sort of charted all their plays and through spring. Brian McCullum is a kid who, you know, we really like, and we like his makeup. He's a mentally tough guy. It's Richard, who his brother.
Well, he had to play behind Richard all those years, so he had to learn to
But
bide
they
his
have
time.
that same mentality that you love as a kicker. Things don't bother them. They'll miss one, and who cares? They don't go kick the next one. And so I like that mental makeup he has. The pure talented kid is Mark Fitzgerald, you know, out of over from Ireland.
Yeah.
And he's a very talented kid, and he's going to probably handle a lot of our kicking, some of our punting, and maybe some longer kicks and kickoffs. So, but I tell you what, we've had 2 or 3 other guys challenging for it too. So it's been a very good competitive camp. I think we've got 3 or 4 guys who can go compete, you know, and go help us win. But right now, them 2 are sort of sticking out at the top right now.
Yeah, so again, competition all the way across the field. We saw it pop up there, Coach. You mentioned earlier, you've got the black shirt on. Looking forward to our season opener coming up in 2 weeks. Again, here at home. Get your tickets now. Go ahead and buy season tickets. Those are still on sale. We're closing in on some record numbers for season ticket sales. Be a part of that. Be a part of that record-setting season ticket base. Go ahead and lock in your seat for all 6 home games. Get a look at the schedule. You see the ones in purple. That's EKU, Presbyterian, Tennessee Tech. First conference game against the Eagles here at home. Chattanooga, perennial power for homecoming. Wofford and the Citadel. You've got a couple of color rush games coming up. Pitching the blackout against EKU. Got the drone show coming up. Again, special thanks to Ingalls, Star 104.3, Kiss Country, and, of course, Vonoy Construction, who's doing a great job getting things going with this Western Skybox. Looking forward to that show. You might have to come back out and watch this drone show, Coach, from Sky Elements. I mean, it is unbelievable what those folks can do. Again, mentioned the color rush. We got a whiteout coming up against PC. We got the purple haze coming up against Citadel at the end of the year, but blackout on the first night. Again, a lot of excitement. Going to be under the lights a couple of times this year. Brand new lights. What did you think, Coach? You've had these improvements to the stadium. Not only, obviously, the press box. We're really gracious for that. In this combined effort with our students, the state of North Carolina, with our donors, just this combined project that's really gone in to make it happen. And the donors that have bought into buying different named spaces, things of that sort. But, again, our students have been a big part of that. Looking forward to seeing that. What do you think about the turf and the lights, the 2 things that you deal with the most? We'll talk about your offices later. You guys haven't got a chance. You haven't had a chance to go hang out on the patio at your office yet. But again, the turf, how has it been playing, and the lights? What are your thoughts?
I'll tell you what. If you've graduated from here or a big Catamount fan, this is the game to come to. Hook. There's since last season, the last game until this game, August 29th, there'll be over $40 million of improvements done to this stadium, and that west side, man, is beautiful. Just a beautiful part of our stadium to add to our stadium. You know, the turf field is great for our players, but then you got the lighting. You got the big jumbotron, man, which is beautiful. You know, when it's up and going, and then when you score touchdowns, you don't have lights going everywhere and purple and all different colors. It's just going to be a great game day experience with our band going crazy. You know, it's going to be, I think, just a great, great spectacle that for our fans to come enjoy something that they probably didn't ever realize they would get to this level. And because of our chancellor and, like you say, our students who help with the fees, you know, our donors, all those people have made this possible. And I think it'll still be a great game for you to come out and enjoy all the new things we've got going on.
And a big game. In fact, you got Eastern Kentucky, team picked 4th in their conference. We'll talk more about that on Catamount Football Weekly coming up next Monday right here from Catamount Jaxe. We'll jump in. It'll be each and every Monday throughout the season. Hope you'll make your plans to join us here. And, Coach, again, this is the tip of the iceberg. We could sit and talk all night long about everything that's going on in and around your program. But, again, want everybody to tune in. We've got to leave them hanging for something for next week. Again, guys getting healthy. Hope to get a 2 deep coming up pretty soon. Maybe not next week, maybe the week after. But, again, the installation of the game plan, EKU in town, it's a big-time matchup. And we got them up there at their place last time. You know, they're going to look for some revenge. And everybody wants to get off to a 1-0 start on the year, so it's a big game.
Well, for me, it's the game, you know, the championship sort of. We played them, you don't remember my first year, and barely lost to them. I think we missed the field goal at the end of the game. Then we went up there, 2 or 3 years ago in a monsoon. I mean, It was just raining everywhere, and we was able to get that one late in the game and win that game up there at Eastern Kentucky. So this is the third one here, and they got a really good football team. This will be an exciting game. They can go up and down the field. They got some really talented running backs. So we got a lot to. We got still 2 more weeks to get ready. We got a lot of growth. You know, I told my team I'm as excited about a team as I probably ever have been with this year's team. And the reason is because you really don't know what you got.
Yeah.
Because like we said earlier, there's not a lot of guys have done it at this level. But I know looking at players who are talented, and we've got a lot of talented players. So I feel like our ceiling is so high to be a well-rounded football team that can win not just with 1 or 2 superstars, but with a collection of great players. I think we got so much high level to get there. Now, because of the experience with our kids, we're down here. So we got to make up a lot here in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and as we get into the season, continue to grow and get better and better. But I love the ability, the ceiling that we have to be able to go reach.
All right, Coach, we'll get with you next week. We'll start talking Catamount Football Weekly right here live on location at Catamount Jaxe. Make sure you join us each and every week for Catamount Football Weekly. We'll continue with our fall sports preview. We've still got volleyball, and we'll do a little running with our cross-country squad. We'll talk about them in just a few moments as we continue. Again, live on location tonight from Catamount Jaxe, our fall sports preview presented by Stanberry Insurance. Back after this.
Ooh, boys, the first ever drone show at Catamount Football is coming up August 29th, and it's all up to us.
Let's do this.
I'll just come back later.
You saw nothing. Catamount Nation, are you ready? Fly, my pretty little things, fly!
Hey, don't forget the drone show coming up as part of the home opener for the Catamount football team, August 29th. Make sure you're back here in Cullowhee. Get those season tickets online at catamountsports.com. Want to see you here for all 6 home games. Coaches Show and our fall sports preview. Daniel Hooker from the Catamount Sports Network joined by another one of our long-tenured coaches in Cullowhee. It's Karen Glover and a Catamount volleyball squad. And Coach, you returned about a little over half of your lineup from a year ago. Some young players are going to have to step up to find their roles, but you got to have 2 of the top coming back. You got to feel pretty good when you've got a returning Raina Taylor, co-freshman of the year, and Tatum Sharp, and you've got the setter of the year returning in Katie Boney. You got to feel good about having at least those two to get you started. You got some players that made some strides last year to make some steps forward. I think Perry Subat was one of those that made a move up. Again, you've got some good returners. You've had a couple of weeks in camp. Give us the prognostication. What have you got from camp so far?
I think camp has gone really well. We do have a lot of young players, but they are doing a great job. I mean, the underclassmen outnumber the upperclassmen, so I tell the upperclassmen they got to be on there.
Yeah.
Take care of business. But there's a lot of competition at every position, and I really have enjoyed preseason camp. It's going very well. I bailed out of practice to come over here for you guys. But, everybody's working really hard. There's a lot of competition, and we're pushing everybody to get better every day. And, yes, it's great to be able to have Tatum and Katie back and the other players back and just getting ready to get after it.
You got some veterans up front, a veteran that can distribute. Mm-hmm. You've got a veteran in your back line. You got a couple of them, Hallie and Etta, that can go and make plays along your back line defensively. So are you trying to just find where the youngsters fit in? Because you're going to have some rotation throughout the year. What's kind of been the mentality, and have you been filling out those roles here during camp?
The younger players are pushing the other players.
Which is good.
That is what you want. I think they look really good, and I think, like I said, there's a ton of competition. I think Elise is killing it, like right now, in the DS Libero kind of role as well. Some of our freshman hitters have come in and just look really good. We're hoping to keep everybody healthy and available. As we say, the best ability is availability.
Yep.
But they are doing a great job. It's just they get after it. They go to work. They're showing their mental toughness. The freshmen aren't acting like freshmen, which is great.
Yeah.
They're acting like they belong, and that's what we want them to do, is act like they deserve to be here, because they do deserve to be here. So it's an exciting group, and I'm looking forward to. We have an exhibition on Friday, so I'm looking forward to that.
Definitely going to talk about Anderson coming into town. Mm-hmm. First on-court action against somebody else. You've had a couple of inter-squad scrimmage where you've been able to see your team go against one another, but it'll be good to see somebody in a different color uniform coming up on Friday night, 6 o'clock inside the Ramsey Center on Ingles Court.
Yep, they are. We've done some inter-squad scrimmages. We have to actually do one more, because right now it's Maddie versus Katie. It's 1-1, so they have to have the grudge match.
Well, let's talk about that. You got Coach Katie back,
mm-hmm.
who moved into that top assistant role for you this year, and then Madison coming in to fill your staff. She's right off the court.
Yep.
Right off the court, right into the coaching role.
Yeah.
You've got two former players that were relatively recent. That's got to be good for the dynamic. The veteran coach who you've forgotten more about volleyball than a lot of people will ever know. And then these two youngsters that have come in, and I love the competitive fire that they seem to bring.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of competition going on there. Katie is definitely brings that attitude, but she's got a lot to bring to the table, and so does Maddie. Doing a great job working with our liberos and really getting our serve receive in a good spot. So that's great. And Katie works mostly with our setters and then our middles, so she gets to work with Tatum and Katie. So
yeah, would be remiss if we didn't say hello to Amber Hayter, who's been all about volleyball on here.
That's
She's
right.
dropped in multiple comments coming in.
Thanks, Amber.
Yeah, you too can drop us a comment if you'd like to as we go forward. We get a lot more of those during the year as we go forward once people see a little more. But again, appreciate you guys all chiming in here on our Facebook live stream tonight. You talked about the youngsters, talked about the returners. You got a couple of transfers that have come in, kind of having an immediate impact. I think Brooklyn up front, and then I know I'm going to get this wrong, looking at your back row, the transfer or an outside from Daytona, from Daytona State. What have they brought to your group, kind of adding a little more influx of experience?
Yeah, it was good to have people that have had some experience. They also have really good size, and just kind of came in and fit right in with the culture and are – we did a lot in preseason about culture and, what it really takes to win. It's not enough. It's like we have a great culture on our team. They love each other. They spend a lot of time together. They really have bonded, but it's also a matter of you've got to hold each other accountable on the court and push each other and be okay with, getting after it a little bit. And, what it takes to win is more than just being close as a team. And we really have to fight and push and take it away. And we've talked a lot about winning isn't given to you. You have to go and take it from the other team. And so that's been a really good push. And I think everybody's fit in well, and the underclassmen have really done a good job of being like, yeah, let's go get this.
I think Brooklyn adds some size. That's the first thing you notice when you walk into the gym. First thing I noticed was I don't recognize her from last year, but she's tall.
Yep.
And I think that gives you an advantage,
Yep.
especially when you have right there at the middle. I really felt like Zoe Judans and Samantha Kranzler last year were two players that they combined for, about 5.5 kills per set for you.
Yep.
Big part of your offense.
Yep.
Giving Katie plenty of opportunities to be able to dish the ball around.
Right.
How key are those two coming back? Have they made the jump? Sam making that second-year jump. Have they made that? Have they made those strides you're looking for going into the second year?
I think they have. I think Sam has come a long way with stuff. She's really just working on cleaning up some skill work and just showing some leadership and stuff. That's the other thing that's been great is there's a lot more confidence and leadership on the court than maybe there was in past years.
Looking at your schedule coming up, and it's a little bit different this year. It's kind of the COVID-esque scheduling, where you travel once, play twice. In other words, you go someplace, you look at the schedule here, like coming up on September 25th, 26th in conference, you're at UNCG. You travel once, you play the Spartans twice. You like that kind of idea of playing a team instead of playing them home and home. Now you get to go there once, travel once, play twice, and it's back-to-back nights. So things you do maybe incorrectly or well on one night, you've got to duplicate or fix the next night.
Right. There's some other conferences that are doing it as well, and given that we've been playing back-to-back forever, we don't have off days in between our matches like some other sports do. So it was really challenging and kind of wear and tear, and in the best interest of the student athletes' health and wellness, we really pushed for staying in the same place. They get more recovery. They don't play a 6 o'clock match, get on a bus, have to drive 4 hours, 5 hours away, and play again the next day at 2 o'clock.
Yeah,
that's just really not a great thing for them to do. So we are happy to be able to try this, and I think it's going to be good for them. A little more stability. I'm hoping it will, even help our fans come in a little bit more. Who's here for the weekend. You get a little bit more stability. But we're excited for this new brand of schedule. We did it before during COVID.
Yeah.
Softball and baseball do it. It's fine.
And I think there's one opponent that I remember correctly. I think Wofford. We do have a home and home with them.
Yes.
I think the way that with the odd numbers in scheduling now within the conference. But speaking of SoCon, how do you break it down? How do you look at that? I think some of the preseason stuff yet to come out, but how do you see this league? Like we talked with Chad Miller, I feel like it's going to be a wide open race coming in. Maybe some new unknowns with Tennessee Tech added to the mix.
Yeah, I think the beauty of the SoCon is any team could win it any year. I tell people that all the time. I think there's just a lot of parity, and so teams need to step up and take it. It's not going to be given to you. There's not going to be any easy games of, we're so much better than this team. It's not. We have to go out and battle, and I think that's the fun part of it is you get to go and battle every day knowing that you could win this match and you could win. We go in the conference tournament, you can win. There is no doubt in our minds that we can do it. But we know there's going to be, a lot of strong teams. So we have to go out and, like we keep talking about, you got to take it.
Yeah. Conference championship back over at the Harris Cherokee Center in Asheville. You got an early season tournament back in that same building. Wise coaching to try to get in that building as much as possible early on so you got that familiarity?
Yeah, sure.
Looking forward to that again. Friday, you got your exhibition match before you go on the road for 6 and a couple of tournaments before you get to come back home. Gardner Webb at home in the early part of September on a beautiful day, September 8th. Looking forward to that as you look at what's going on in Catamount Country. We talked about soccer being at Appalachian State and at Tennessee, but right there, the only home event this week, Anderson coming to town. What are you looking to build upon when you've got Anderson here this Friday night under the bright lights? First time for a lot of those players in the uniform on the home floor in front of a crowd.
Well, I think that's what it is really trying out some lineups. We've been playing within ourselves, but to see somebody else across the net and have to respond to that, you get kind of used to what you do in practice. So now what can we do? What do we need to put together? And who's gonna rise and take that spot, and who's going to get rid of the nerves of being freshmen and back in it and all that kind of stuff. So we're excited for the exhibition. I always like to have one at home because we do go on the road a lot in preseason.
Veritable professional, Coach. She talked about how she dreaded being up here. Worst part of preseason, she says, is the coaches show. But getting to talk about her team, she does a great job each and every time. Karen Glover, wish you the best of luck this year. We'll talk with you again as we go forward. And looking forward to being back on ESPN with you this year and having those home matches. And, again, come out on Friday night inside the Ramsey Center, 6 o'clock, Anderson, exhibition style. Looking forward to it.
Yep, thank you.
That's Western Carolina head volleyball coach Karen Glover. We'll wrap up our fall sports preview presented by Stanberry Insurance. We'll lace them up. We'll hit the trail. Let's go running. It's cross country on the other side of this quick timeout. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back here live at Catamount Jaxe to wrap up our fall sports preview and our Catamount Coaches Show right after this.
Here's where you plug in your USB that goes to your computer. Western North Carolina is 3 different styles.
Ooh, boys, the first ever drone show at Catamount Football is coming up August 29th, and it's all up to us.
Let's do this.
I'll just come back later.
You saw nothing. Catamount Nation, are you ready? Fly, my pretty little things, fly!
Back here at Catamount Jaxe on a Monday night, last but certainly not least. We're going to talk some cross country. We're going to hit the trails, get out and running. I'm not sure, did the weather run you guys off the training circuit tonight, or is that? No,
we were all good.
Yeah, it's starting to look bad out there. Weather reports coming in on the phone. We got to get out of here before it gets too bad, but want to make sure we talk cross country. Again, our Catamount Coaches Show and our fall sports preview presented by Stanberry Insurance. Again, independently owned, local. Again, Waynesville, Silva, Highlands, Clyde, Whittier. The 5 locations online at stanberry-ins.com. All for the best choices for anything you want to get covered: home, auto, life, your renter's insurance, your ORV, your RV, your pet, whatever you want covered. We ask that you let Stanberry Insurance give you a quick quote. Call the great folks at Stanberry Insurance. Visit them online, stanberry-ins.com. Again, Stanberry Insurance, proud presenter of our Catamount Coaches Show. And then don't forget that we'll also be back here with Catamount Football Weekly, live here at Catamount Jaxe, home of our Coaches Show. Look forward to being back here each and every Monday night. Hope you'll stop by. Shout out tonight to, again, Solely Flavor. And the wings are now gone. I don't know who ate them all. Michaela might have gotten them. Hold on, I'm not sure. But either way, it smelled really good in here for a few minutes with the waft of the Caribbean jerk flavor of Soli, the food truck out in the parking lot. Now, Coach, you've been very popular here already. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about Peyton Skoglund and a little more of Peyton Skoglund. But no, let's seriously talk about cross country. Let's start with the women's squad since they were very vocal on here. Yep. Again, a couple of veterans. You talk about a veteran squad. Might be the most veteran squad that you have had in the distance running in terms of cross country and the distance events and track and field, but might be the most veteran group that you've had in quite some time.
Yeah, definitely. No, we were being super intentional with who we brought in and who we were recruiting, kind of looking at the squad. I felt pretty comfortable with the ladies we had coming back, and so just really wanted to lean into them. Got a bunch of seniors in that group, and let's see what we can do on their last rodeo.
Yeah, you talk about 5 seniors. I think 5 seniors, 3 juniors, if I counted correctly, which don't put it past me. It may not have been not sleeping much these days as we're counting down to the start of things, as you very well know. But you have Catherine Hopkins and Peyton Skoglund, 2 of your leaders. Talk about a squad. This time last year we were really singing the praises of the men's squad and how they finished up the year. How about your women's squad? Best finish since 2003, a season ago, and now an opportunity to build upon that. I really felt like they carried some momentum from cross into the indoor, but really into the outdoor as well,
Yeah.
and what they were able to do in the distance events. So again, talk about the finish of last year for your women's squad and how that's leading in for your start to this year.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's kind of been building up, and I think that was kind of the theme at the end of the outdoor season, kind of with the ladies team, is just we were building a lot of momentum, and it started in cross country, started the year before that, and hopefully it kind of keeps on building into this year. I think there's definitely some excitement around the program with winning the championship this past year and stuff, and so now we just kind of need that distance group to take the next step, to be able to kind of contribute more. I'm always kind of greedy. I want more, and so I'm keep challenging them to kind of rise up a little bit more and do a little bit better.
And I still go back, and this was not cross country. This was one of the distance events in the outdoor. I think one of the best. Well, I think it was a 3,000 meter. I think it was a 3,000. The finish that we had in our home event, and watching, I think it was Catherine and Peyton going mano a mano down the backstretch to finish that one up. But again, just building off of that. Now, on the men's side of things, I know you mentioned last year, you said you were disappointed in the way they finished.
Yeah.
Has that been a motivation factor for the men's squad coming into this year? Has that really egged them on to try to improve upon what we did last year?
Yeah, definitely. I think especially with cross country, I mean, I think it was kind of understandable in how young we were. Geez, man, over half of our squad is probably sophomores or younger right now. And so super talented growth, but, they're making a transition to college, and it definitely is a little bit different. They got to trust the training. They got to trust the approach that we have and everything. And, I think now they're kind of starting to see the light and see like, hey, maybe coach isn't as crazy as, we thought he was last year, and kind of buying into it a little bit more, and just maturing a little bit. So it should be pretty exciting to see what that group does. I think the depth on that side is definitely in a pretty good spot, but, we got to execute on race day.
Well, you're talking about depth. It still seems like a very young side, freshmen and sophomores, just a few upperclassmen. But again, it just means that it's wide open. That's been kind of the theme for a lot of our teams this year. And looking at the conference race, looking at just the overall things as it's pertained to a lot of our sports about how wide open some of it is. And I think on the men's side, when you look up and down the performance charts, it's wide open on who could be the one that goes out there and sets the pace, who could be that one that's going to chase things and push things a little more.
Yeah, there's a lot of movement within the conference with new head coaches, directors, Tennessee Tech coming in the conference. So just a lot of movement right now, and so it's an opportunity for us to kind of take advantage of it. But we got to put one foot in front of the other, faster than everybody else, and do it a little bit tougher than everybody else to execute.
All about grouping in cross country, right? All about getting those packs, getting that grouping to find the scoring. Take a look at your schedule on screen there. And again, one more event than what you had a year ago, going back to a couple of the events that you ran in last year, of course, going just over the mountain over to Bryson City to open things up in early September, going back down to the upstate. You like your schedule here? Again, it's a short schedule for cross country, but there's so much prep work that goes into it that people don't see that leads into being ready to go each and every on these Fridays or Saturday, as it were.
Yeah, definitely. No, something a little bit different. We kind of been running the same schedule for the last few years, and just for my sanity, I need a little bit of a change. So we've been talking about the Southern Showcase down in Huntsville, Alabama. That's kind of a cheat code in cross country. You can go down there and run pretty fast, it seems like. So
it's a lot flatter.
It is.
That's what I hear.
There's actually, I think I was talking to somebody about that course, one of our recruits, and they said it's actually got a good little hill that's in the middle of it type deal. So
it's a hill, not a mountain.
Yeah,
that's the difference.
Exactly. So, so kind of throwing that in, that's a really big meet. I think like 40-plus teams, and so it'd be exciting to kind of see some teams that are outside of our region go there, and then we'll go to Tryon for their invite. Use that as a little bit of a preview for the cross-country course and everything.
A lot of conference schools try to get to that one there at Tryon now that we've moved it over to the Equestrian Center area. Again, not that we're running horses in that, but again, that's a beautiful area, that beautiful facility. They put a lot into it with the indoor facility, with what they do with the cross country. They've just made it into kind of a little track and field cross country haven just outside of Asheville. Yeah,
definitely. They've definitely been putting a lot of work into it. They got some big dreams of even some things they want to do down the road. So, I wouldn't be surprised if some new things kind of pop up there. It's just exciting. It's nice to have some place like that and somebody that's invested into, sports, especially track and field and stuff. So that's definitely really exciting. So try to go over there and give them some support.
Conference looking at across the way. how do you dethrone the Paladins? They've been a team that's been really tough. Chattanooga's been really good. How do you find a way to make that step? They put so much into it, and they're so good at what they do. How do you find a way to chip away at that, to try to make that move? Again, you're the only Catamount to ever win these cross-country championship. Runner of the year back in 2001. We all remember it well, at least you and I do. How do you make that move in the conference? When you're looking at success, again, everybody says, if you don't win it, you didn't have success, but how do you spell success within the conference for your groups on the men's and women's side this year?
I think it's just getting to a place where we can be consistently in the top 4 in cross country. Furman's got a crazy funding model where they're going hard on the distance side, and with us, it's about being balanced. I love it where we can get in the track season and score in every single event, and so we're not moving away from that. I think for us to be successful, be a top 2 team, it's going to be bringing in a group and just developing them over 3-4 years, letting them kind of buy into it, making through without having transfers, maybe bringing in a couple transfers here or there that can kind of fill in, but it's really just kind of get that core group, kind of like the year we had second place. I mean, that was a core group of guys that just kind of bought into the vision.
2 years ago, right?
Yep, 2 years, and just really kind of went to town on it. And so hopefully maybe this freshman, sophomore group can kind of do that same thing. And by the time, and especially now with 5 years, maybe, if they stick around and they all want to do a 5-year, or some of them want to do it, then, maybe it lines up.
We could have a whole show on just the NCAA 5-for-5 transfer rules, the 22s opportunities to come back, things of that. So we could do a whole an NCAA wouldn't like it, I don't think, but we could do a whole night of just that. But, again, as we wrap things up, look at your schedule again, Coach. The duel in the Valley over in Bryson City, it's got to be good to be able to stay at home and sleep close. And, again, the duel against a familiar squad, UNC Asheville. You spent some time coaching just over the mountain there. And, again, looking forward to that. Again, a good schedule, a good solid schedule to get you some different courses to get you ready for conference, which is where it really all plays out.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, everything's just kind of geared up to get us ready for conference. Nobody really remembers, it's awesome to run fast at the Southern Showcase or to win the duel, but, really in the grand scheme of things in our sport, the only thing that really matters is the conference championships.
Well, I know Bella Hillary would like us to say hello to Catherine Hopkins tonight, too. Always dropping us a note. And Bella, a big part of our broadcast team. And, of course, Peyton Scoglin, appreciate her dropping us a note. The guys must be out running because they didn't have a chance to drop any notes in there.
They're probably out just hanging out with the ladies.
I got you. But, again, Jesse, wish you the best of luck going forward this year. And looking forward to being close to home for the conference championship again over in just outside of Asheville again.
Yeah, definitely. Looking forward to it.
All right, that'll wrap things up here for our fall sports preview. We've gone from the soccer pitch to the football field to the cross-country tracks and, of course, the volleyball court as well. Don't forget, check CatamountSports.com for all the information on all of our fall sports. Again, we mentioned baseball, softball will also have their fall schedule coming up next week. In fact, our women's golf team will be down at Clemson. Men's golf will get underway. They host the JT Poston Invitational in the fall again. So a lot of things going on across Catamount Country. Make sure you get your tickets for football coming up on August 29th. We're going to black out Whitmire. We're still going to we're holding on these uniforms, folks. Everybody's really waiting to see what's the blackout uniform going to look like. We're going to have that for you coming up very, very soon. Hope you'll see that and come out and join us. Again, a drone show. Again, Sky Elements, our good friends from Vinoy Construction, big part of that. Again, special thanks to everybody. So if you haven't joined the Catamount Club to make sure you've got yourself some good season tickets and good parking, you still got some opportunities. The clock is ticking, but we're getting very close. Make sure you're here in Catamount Country for our season opener on August 29th. Don't forget volleyball coming up on Friday night in the Ramsey Center. Again, it is just off and running. No sleep till Brooklyn, as the old song went. We'll see you next time. Again, don't forget, we'll be back here at Catamount Jaxe for Catamount Football Weekly in 1 week. We'll open up our coaches' shows each and every Monday night live from Catamount Jaxe. Social house in the front, axe throwing in the back. I always like to say alcohol and axes. It's a great combination, kind of like Jesse Norman and cross-country running. Just a great combination right there. And, again, don't forget to be back with us here. And, again, special thanks to Stanberry Insurance online, stanberry-ins.com. Back in the Catamounts for 45 years and been a big supporter of our coaches' shows and Catamount Football Weekly. For all of our coaches, talking Karen Glover, talking Jesse Norman, Kerwin Bell, and, of course, Chad Miller, who got us started tonight. For all of our crew, I'm Daniel Hooker saying so long for now. Catch you next week on Catamount Football Weekly right here at Catamount Jaxe, online, Facebook Live, and on YouTube. Good night, everybody.